Bag talk. Our speaker today is Dr. Antonio Gonzalez-Prendes, who is an assistant professor in the School of Social Work, and where he's chair of interpersonal practice concentration and the lead teacher in the cognitive behavioral theory track. Professor Gonzalez-Prendes has lots of clinical administrative experience in social work, in the practice in mental health and addiction, both in the public and the private sectors. His special research interest is in the application of cognitive behavioral approaches to the areas of mental health and addiction treatments, particularly as they relate to minority populations. And in this context, he's published on a variety of articles on anger problems and treatment, expressions, treatment. He's also done an article with Professor Shirley Thomas, in the School of Social Work on anger in Afro-American women. And in fact, the two of them were profiled in the Wayne State bulletin called New Science on their research. This is the first. Have you done these brown bags before?
No, it's my first.
I thought this was your first. We are delighted to welcome him here for the first brown bag. He has served as a consultant and a trainer in a number of areas, and he is a practicing clinical social work. He has a practice as well. So he teaches at the university, but he also is a practicing clinician and has a practice. So join me, please, in welcoming to the Brown Bag series for the first time, with pleasure, Professor Antonio Gonzalez-Prendes, who will present in his own way.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for coming on this nice day like today. I just got back from a social work conference. Some of it's still going on in Tampa, Florida. So it was a little bit different. It's very sunny. It was cool, but very sunny. Unfortunately, probably some of my colleagues are still over there. But I really welcome the opportunity to share some of the work that I have done on issues of anger. And today, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit more about a conceptualization of anger from a cognitive behavioral perspective. And so I call the presentation Understanding the Experience and Expression of Anger, and focusing more on the conceptualization process and some of the factors that go into that. What I wanted to do today is just do an overview of what the presentation will entail. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about cognitive behavior theory, what it is, just to set the groundwork. And then I want to talk about why anger, why my interest on anger, and also talk a little about the impact of anger, not only on the individual, but on society at large. Make a distinction between healthy and unhealthy anger, because anger is a normal, common human emotion. And then talk a little bit about the conceptualization model, which I call the path of anger. And also I wanted to talk a little bit about gender role and anger expression, and how gender role socialization shapes the way that we express anger. And lastly, talk a little bit about implications for practice. And I'm a practitioner. I've been a clinical social worker for 20 years, and so my work really, every time that I look at something, I try to find some implications for clinical social work practice. And so we'll talk about that and some of the implications for practice, both with men and women. And let me tell you first a little bit about myself. Again, as I mentioned, I maintain a practice in clinical social work. I'm also a full-time professor in the School of Social Work. I serve as the lead teacher in my cognitive behavioral track for our second year master's students. And I'm also, this year, I'm serving as the chair of our interpersonal practice concentration. We have two major concentrations for our master level students: community practice and interpersonal practice. So, given the fact that the classes that I teach involve practice, I've been trying to stay connected with the practice field and maintain. I was doing practice before I came into academia. That was really my main focus. But once I came to the university, I really had to cut back. But I didn't want to walk away from practice altogether because I wanted to keep my hands on practice. That's what I teach. All right. So most of my research has involved aspects of cognitive behavior therapy, particularly as it relates to minority groups, gender, ethnic, racial minorities, and I have focused on the issue of anger. My interest in anger really comes from my work. I worked for many years in community mental health, Detroit, Wayne County Community Mental Health, where we work with clients with most of them severe chronic mental illness, chronic substance abuse, co-occurring disorders, and many of those individuals were individuals who have been sort of marginalized, cast aside, by society, by the families. Many of them had many runs in with corrections. And one thing that I noticed in that setting, that many of our clients had a great deal of anger, where anger was either become a roadblock to treatment, prevented the successful treatment. In many cases, it was an issue itself that needed to be addressed. And what I found out, I'm talking back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, that we really didn't have a formal way to treat anger. People would say, well, just count to 10 or breathe, but really, it didn't work. And so that's really what interested me in starting to look at the literature that was there, the very limited literature as to what it tells about anger, about the treatment of anger. With my interest in cognitive behavior therapy, I started to focus on the literature in cognitive behavior therapy and started to develop a model to treat anger within that setting. And once I came to academia, it really allowed me to expand in terms of the writing and the research and publish in that area. So. But first, I want to talk a little bit about cognitive behavior theories, because this sets really the groundwork, the framework of this presentation. And cognitive behavior theory, or CBT for short, it's a theory of psychotherapy that really focuses on cognitions as the prime determinant of emotional and behavioral responses. So that it holds that the way that we interpret an event really determines how we're going to respond to that event, with the intensity of emotion and the type of emotion that we're going to respond. So the meaning that we attach to situations, rather than the situation itself, contributes to one emotional behavioral response. So that even when we are caught up in a bad situation with adversity or setback, that even in those situations, cognitive behavior therapy is not about just positive thinking, because if I'm caught up in that situation, it's important for me to really assess that this is an adversity, it's a bad occasion, but the question is, how do I respond to it? So again, the meaning that I attach to the situation is going to really dictate the type of emotion, the intensity of the emotion, the behavioral response that is driven by that emotion. So there are three key assumptions or hypotheses that underscore the cognitive behavior therapies. And I say therapies because there are different variations of cognitive behavior therapy that fall under this umbrella of cognitive behavior theory. But most of them are really grounded in this hypothesis. Number one, the axis hypothesis that indicates that the content and process of our thinking is accessible and knowable. So that, it may not be in our immediate awareness, but we can access that with some work. Some thoughts or belief that may be central to the way that I see myself, the world, other people.